am doing just fine. Having a pretty lazy week. Have quite a lot of socializing planned this weekend. It is summer. Yeah. Alright. Ironclad and a Slime Boss Act. Ace Peacecraft. Very excited for board games on Sunday. Oh yeah! That is one of the socializings that I have this weekend. Shall we buy a feed? Or shall we... There's a 4 elite path if I get like a little bit stronger, and I would like to have gold for it. Maybe spending all of my money doesn't make sense here. Oof. Upgrading Bash is kind of weird. It might be better to go Common Relic. Upgrading Bash just doesn't work against Sentries, right? Hey Root, hey Janoki, hey Baron Henderson, hey Draco Bob. I don't know. I don't know what the right choice is. I don't think any of the three is bad. And there is also, like, if we get here and our deck can't do that, we just go this way, and it's, like, fine. And, like, pretty safe, too. I feel like Common Relic. Cool. Yeah, Akabeko is a good one. I think the best we're doing here is taking 1 damage. I don't think trying to get out of this taking less than 1 damage is really feasible. Now I'm thinking about it. No, because if I don't draw defend on this turn, it takes 6. It's not worth the risk. Okay! Let's work out how we're doing this. Would have been dead if I only had 1 HP. True. True, actually. All right, let's take a look at a new... Oh, I can't make new... Oh, I'm not logged in correctly. Wait, what is this one? Don't know. That's what floor I died on? That's by floor. Cards. Ironclad cards. Get rid of these. Get rid of all that. Everything background red. Okay. We're looking at Perfected Strike, Chemokinesis, and Warcry. This is going to be an interesting project. He can't be Jordan. Blake Stickles. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do this as of yet. But I think we are starting by having... Where did I put the data? Maybe just put it over here further. I thought it was Frosthaven. Hey, Galos. Yeah, I just, like, can't change my Go Live thing at the moment. Because of how I'm streaming. It's weird. Hey, Macho can go. Hey, Stampeasy. Analysis, maybe? Alright, so Perfected Strike. You just watched the gameplay trailer for Knock on the Coffin Lid, and it looks like the best trailer for Spire like you think you've ever seen. Yeah, it is like fairly highly recommended, so I'm excited to check it out. Perfected Strike is an interesting card to start with. Perfected Strike is a damage common. What's a damage common? Great question. Where should I put the glossary? Glossary. What color would the glossary be? Orange? Damage common. Turn. Meaning. Damage commons are cards you want to take early on in the run to improve fights like Gremlin, Knob, and Lagavulin, which are defined by your ability to deal a certain amount of damage in a low amount of time. How do you like make line breaks during this? There's a way to do it, isn't there? Can you make a line break in a sheet? Like in the same cell? Long Podge exists. Oh my god. My spreadsheets are so hot. Thanks, Falsely Shepherd. Command plus enter? Oh, okay. The number of damage commons you take can heavily affect. I think affect. That one, right? With the A? Fuck. Can heavily affect what sorts of strategies make sense. Well, affect can also be a noun. And I think effect can also be a verb. Is that true? That one might not be true. Hey, Kukalan. Hey, Silamera. Is this going to be shared publicly when finished? It should already be. It's !Spire, I think. To pursue later in the run. Each damage common is one more card in the way of putting together your engine, going infinite, drawing your best block card for dangerous turns and late game fights, etc. There is also a decent amount of decision making around, well, maybe consequently. There's consequently a decent amount of decision making around whether to take more damage commons to defeat more elites, and get to upgrade instead of heal at campfires versus taking fewer, fighting fewer elites, having to rest more at campfires, but having a smaller deck to build into a late game powerhouse. That is what damage common means. Ben Diaz! Thanks for the 7 months. What is the verb form of effect? Effect verb. Effect can be used to accomplish something or to cause something to happen. Isn't that exactly what affect means as a verb? Sorry, what does affect mean as a verb? What terrible words. Affect as a verb means to act on, produce a change in, whereas effect as a verb means to accomplish something or cause something to happen. Isn't that the same? It's like almost exactly the same thing. What the fuck, English? Does exclamation mark Spire make this spreadsheet show up? I feel like it should. Can I justify these top? Is there a way to justify top? Top align. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Maybe I actually want middle align. Ooh, that one's kind of nice. So Perfected Strike is a damage common. I'm gonna say it's a B tier damage common. Yeah, it's a B tier damage common, I think. Engine. Snowball engine. I'm gonna say it's a C tier snowball engine. Let's talk about what a snowball engine means. I don't think I've ever talked about snowball engines before because I'm pretty sure I just made that terminology up. So a snowball engine. This is a linearly strengthening strategy. We're taking more and more of the same sort of thing. Gives you more strength over time. For example, dexterity plus block cards. What other good examples of snowball engines are there? There's Perfected Strike, obviously, but I think Perfected Strike is just a bad snowball engine. I don't think Claw is a good example, because Claw you just want to play the card lots of... Claw is actually, I think, more of a combo engine. For example, Dexterity plus block cards. Strength plus attacks. Focus plus orbs. I think stat swapping, like, it is a bit snowball-y, but I think it's also a little bit too combo-y to put it as an example of just a snowball engine. Maybe Flurry of Blows. Or Weave combined with their enablers. And we can compare this to a combo engine. Combo engine is a strategy which requires taking cards which feel out of place at first, but which results in an extremely strong combination once it all comes together. For example, exhaust scaling on Ironclad, poison damage on Silent, Nightmare plus Wraith. Well, Wraith form's very good on its own. Nightmare combos on Silent. Recycle Infinites on Defect. Red, blue, Infinites on Watcher. Go with that. Meteor Strike. I call that like a build around. I don't know what I'll call Meteor Strike when I get up to defining what I think Meteor Strike is, but I think I'd call that something else. Okay. So good for winning early game hallway and elite fights, but not usually worth dedicating an entire run to. It's fine to take 2 perfected strikes and then remove them later. You don't expect the cleaves and carnages you'd be taking instead to win the entire run anyway. You don't need to expect that of your perfected strikes. It is possible to win by taking perfected strikes all the way as damage, but you'll need very strong supportive relics and or defensive cards. That is my opinion of perfected strike. You like Snowball Engine? It goes well if we eventually hit Blizzard with Defect. Interesting. Board the Sun, thanks for the year. Appreciate it. So that's perfected strike. Cards like fine. Chemokinesis. Do I like mention that it has strike synergies? Whatever. I'm not gonna do that. Chemokinesis. Chemokinesis is like an S tier damage common, which is very weird because it's an uncommon. And then we have self-damage, synergies. This is like I don't think it's a remarkable card for self-damage synergies. I'd say it's like a C+ on the self-damage synergy front. That's not really something that I'm looking to get into with Ironclad anyway. Chemokinesis just deals tons of damage for 1 energy. It is also relevant. It only costs 1 energy because it is able to be played in the same turn as Bash. Oh my god, is it Thursday? I keep on forgetting how to do the line break. It's very difficult. Ironclad. Self-damage synergies can be quite awkward, but occasionally come together around particular relics. Or Reaper. I think that's a fair assessment of them. Like, you need to have a very particular set of relics to want to really lean into the brutalities and ruptures of the world, or you need to have some way to get a lot of sustain like Reaper. I think there's like, I mean, you can try to make them work in more situations than that, but that's kind of one I would recommend it. So good with Centennial Puzzle. Good point. I think we would mark that in the Centennial Puzzle that it works well with self-damage synergies. Rupture at its best is a very, well, we don't have to write that stuff right there. Hemokinesis is a nice in to them without sacrificing much at all. It's a great card for most of the game on its own merit. Back to the glossary. We should have Ironclad specific glossary. So this is Ironclad specific. What do we say about self-damage stuff for Ironclad? Synergy package, which tends to revolve around Rupture as a payoff for dealing yourself damage. Many of the cards involved are good on their own and have smaller synergies with, for example, Centennial Puzzle. Uncommon to go for unless you pick up good sustain and or a Reaper, or your deck is able to win hallway fights in other ways and just uses the full self-damage package for elites / bosses. We can say self-forming clay too. I don't remember if self-forming clay is hyphenated or not. Health is a resource for Ironclad. This can be spent for damage. Also card draw. So that's Hemokinesis. Hemokinesis is what I'm going to take here. In case that was not, like, I think most people who watch this channel saw this card reward and were like, oh cool, Jorbs got a Hemokinesis. And then I spent 15 minutes typing in a spreadsheet and you're like, oh cool, yeah, it is Jorbs. Very, very comforting. Very comforting Jorbs moment here. Warcry. Wouldn't Hemo be a damage uncommon? No, absolutely not. Warcry is like, I'm gonna say hand manipulation. It's like a C. It's honestly like a C- hand manipulation. And exhaust. What am I calling this? Synergies. Warcry. Warcry is a seemingly innocuous card which runs into problems against Gremlin Knob and Chosen, and Gremlin Knob, Chosen, Snecko, and makes it hard to take Snecko Eye. Draw 1 plus put 1 back is net -1 card. So unupgraded, you need some justification for taking it, which can sometimes be found with its hand manipulation value. Late game, it can be a good pick because of the way fits into the very powerful exhaust synergy. Do you think I could publish this as a book? I bet y'all would read it. The market for this book is exactly like 100 people who watch my YouTube channel and Twitch channel, and that's it. So hand manipulation is a concept for all characters. It is uncommon, but some uncommons are common damage cards. Damage commons. It's a misnomer. The spreadsheet is already shared. It is like chess books. I've been watching quite a lot of chess recently. I feel like it's affected how I stream Slay the Spire pretty heavily. Would fetch lands be good in Slay the Spire? Well, there are no lands, so I think that would hamper them. Hand manipulation. The ability to change which cards are in your hand and or which order you draw them in. Often allows you to cheat out more output than expected. For example, Havoc plus Demon Form, or let's say Havoc plus Headbutt. We'll do it in the order that you do them in. How about that? Havoc plus Human. I'm gonna say Immolate too, because Demon Form heals. Demon Form's just not a card that often. Shade out or more output than expected, or ensure that combos come together in a timely fashion. Example, well-laid plans plus Nightmare plus Wraith Form. And manipulation is going to be retain and deck order stuff. Why write a book that 100 people will read when you could do a PhD thesis 10 people would read? You have 10 parents? Damn. Magnus vs. Hans in Paris is going to be interesting. I feel bad for Magnus. Magnus stopped playing the classical time control world championship, but he still plays chess. Whoa. Exhaust. What do you say about exhaust? Infinite? No. So, about, should I actually just count? Ironclad cards. I haven't counted in a while, so these are basics. There are, other than the basics, a total of 72 Ironclad cards. How many of them say exhaust on them in some way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 out of 72. What is 25 out of 72? 34.7%? That's kind of wild, because I was about to say about 30 to 35% of Ironclad cards say exhaust on them. I guess I've done that before and remembered the number. Anyway. In some way, the character benefits from powers like Dark Embrace and feel no pain, greatly enhancing the effect of those exhausts. It's possible to exhaust down to a variety of infinites, like Dropkick ×2, or to simply use a deck with 30 plus cards. I don't know if I want to I don't want to say large. With 25 plus cards to win while exhausting the cards for good value. Whether or not it could be for damage, or a couple of limit breaks, or blood for blood plus, or really anything else. Okay, I think Ironclad's exhaust synergies for me are the strongest synergies on the character. I missed Carnage, oh my bad. For me, exhaust is the strongest synergy piece on Ironclad. With many strong cards you want to take regardless of their synergy with exhaust, and huge payoff once it comes together. Corruption and or Dead Branch, no mention. Dead Branch is kind of a noob trap. I mean, it's very strong, but like, it is so incredibly not necessary for Ironclad's exhaust synergies to be strong, and in fact, it sometimes makes your deck worse when you have exhaust synergies going. So, overall, what I said was Perfected Strike was an okay damage common. I'm gonna change its Snowball Engine rating to like D minus. Like, it can happen, but I would not recommend going for Perfected Strike snowballs. Warcry, just kind of mediocre. What do we think Skip is? Skip's like a C, maybe? So if something's getting better ratings than C, it's like pretty reasonable to want to take it. And then Hemokinesis is fucking incredible. Can you ever justify Perfected Strike over Hemo floor 1? Nah, not really. It's pretty hard. Maybe if you had Snecko. Still seems pretty hard. Would Strike Dummy change my mind? Alright, back to the spreadsheet. Good fight. We've already talked about Warcry. Strike. I guess we could note, like, strike. Synergies. Maybe it's worth mentioning that strike synergies exist. It does end up being part of the character, right? There's a strike. Synergy space present on Ironclad, but it ultimately amounts to nothing more than being an awkward way to deal moderate amounts of damage. Notably, it has no ability to defend and encourages you to add multiple low impact attacks to your deck, making it harder for any good defensive cards you find in purchase. When strike synergies do come together, it's usually off of taking a couple of perfected strikes in Act 1, and then getting very good defensive relics and or Necronomicon to push them into a late game force. Hey, Rouge! Ishibug! In the board game, strike synergies were a bit better. I can't like remember strike synergies in the board game. I've played like 2 or 3 runs. I would believe you. I just like don't remember them. Alright, anyway, Twin Strike. Twin Strike is a damage common. We're gonna say it's like a... I think it's B tier probably. Strength. Synergies. I think if you're taking this for strength synergies alone, though, it's like pretty indefensible. Like probably a D- for strength synergies. Strike synergies, D-. Deals 10 damage for 1 energy and synergizes with some strength gain and or vigor from Akabeko. Unusual to want to take this card after you've finished preparing your deck to beat Gremlin Knob. Strength synergies. Ironclad strength synergies pair damage from attacks like Sword, Boomerang, Heavy Blade, and Anger with defensive value from Reaper. Reaper is a standout defensive card here, and while it isn't impossible to go for strength synergies without it, it often ends up being justification for trying to do so in the first place. Because of Reaper's characteristics, as a defensive card, you spelled defensive. I'm getting semantic satiation with like the English language right now. Strength synergies tend to play very well with increased max HP from relics and or from relics, events, and feat. Feed inclines one toward strength synergies in the run. You weren't done reading the first row? Shit, I'm sorry. You okay now? That's Twin Strike. And then Flex. Flex is such a weird card. It's like a C tier damage common. I don't know, it might be a C plus tier damage common. It's not terrible as a damage common. It's somewhat high variance, I think is my least favorite thing about Flex. Which is a weird thing to get into. The like, whether a card is high or low variance and what that means for your strategy. Super Reincarnated. Tatiana. Thanks for the sub. Would I rather early feed or early Hand of Greed? Feed? Are you sure 3 HP is better than 20 gold? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that seems like the game backs me up. Oh. Is there some category for relic synergies? I would write those with the relics probably. I don't know. I'm not sure. Flex is a damage common. It is also like strength synergies D- probably. I think D- is like the worst something can be for me to mention it, basically. If I think something's worse than D- in a category, I just won't write it down. Hurt as a damage common by its high variance. Whether you draw it with attacks or not massively changes its effect. In early game, you may not have potions or what do I call it? Hand manipulation to help with this yet. And do some fun things with strength scaling attacks, though, and has a cute interaction with orange palettes, which makes it genuinely good. Also a solid card to pick up to lower energy curve of the deck. I'm gonna capitalize and bold energy curve. So another concept I should define. Cost of the cards in your deck. Your deck's energy curve should serve to help you spend your energy well on output which matters each turn. For example, against Gremlin Nub, you'd love to be able to spend 3 energy per turn on damage. And so adding high cost damage cards to silent decks early makes a lot of sense. And on the other hand, your energy and cards. On the other hand, Ironclad already finds it easy to spend 3 energy per turn on damage with his starter deck. So adding lower cost damage cards to Ironclad decks early is a more effective way to improve. It's not, that's too strong. It's a more has a mechanical advantage, maybe. Has a mechanical advantage at improving Ironclad's overall damage output against Gremlin Knob. Because high cost damage cards will regularly prevent you from playing a strike you had in hand anyway. I'm gonna say often instead of regularly. This feels like a better word. Okay. Each of these concepts could be a short on their own. Oh, are you kidding me? Talk about them for an hour. We're gonna take Twin Strike because it combos with Akabeko and I want some more damage. Pretty straightforward. That feels like it's off to a good start. With my Relic healing me for 6 at the end of the fight, this is like pretty low stakes fight. Almost certainly just leave it at full health. Alright, we got an Entropic Brew. I was gonna say, I don't have that many potions. I now have lots of potions. I think because there's a 4 elite path and I have Akabeko, I am actually taking another Twin Strike here. We should talk about Body Slam though, and we should talk about Infernal Blade. I'm gonna stretch my legs. We've already done 3 floors of this. I need a break. I'll be right back. Hey, Kano. Oh, Twitch chat. Hello. Anna. Essential Emu. Emu? Thanks for the Prime. You're flexing right now for the Body Slam. Body Slam is the longest explanation out of all the cards so far. Yalta sign. Also, I want to glossary of Variance. Extra explanation's okay. Variance. Because losing a single fight loses your entire run, whereas winning a single fight only gets you to the next floor. Decks with a lot of variance in how well they work are structurally disadvantaged in the Slay the Spire. That said, some cards with high variance also have high enough output to be worth trying to make work. This can be achieved with clever use of potions, hand manipulation, or recognition that deck has enough reliable output to cover for the variance involved in the strategy you're going for. In general, every run of Slay Spire has variance in it, so trying to avoid variance altogether is a losing proposition. However, as you become more and more favored to win, your strategy should orient around reducing variance to strategy should orient more and more around reducing variance, because it becomes more and more relevant. Because losses to bad variance from your decks, I say may want to orient more and more around reducing variance, because losses to bad variance from your decks will start to make up a greater and greater proportion of your total losses. Demon Defiant, 8 year. This should be exclamation mark Spire, I think. The spreadsheet. When you realize that Body Slam adds strength, your respect for it went much higher. You love identifying when you're not favored to win in games and increasing the variance. Yeah, there are times to do that in Slay the Spire as well, for sure, but it's more common in a like single match scenario where like you're only playing one game. Because in order to play a run of Slay the Spire and win, you have to win like 20 to 30 fights or whatever. And so you can't really think like, oh, I'm just going to get lucky one time. Like, you actually have to get lucky 20 or 30 times. Your like heart fight strategy could be high variance, while all of your other fight strategies are low variance though. If you're like, I cannot ever beat the heart with a low variance strategy, I'm just going to have to get lucky. You could build toward that line where you get lucky and win like 50% of the time, and then your deck is maybe just strong enough to beat the other fights in the game by doing something else. That happens sometimes. Maybe I should add that aside to the thing. Sometimes it pays to lean into a high variance strategy for one fight you can otherwise not beat, after recognizing that your deck is weak to one thing in particular. In such a situation, you can still use low variance strategies to win other fights. High variance with respect to heart sort of gets the sample size low enough for you to deviate into the good outcomes. Is that kind of what that is? Sample size of 1. Kinda. There's also just like against the heart, sometimes the heart has a very specific rule set, which is very punishing. And some decks can just not beat it unless they get lucky. So if you're in that situation, like, you should try to get lucky, obviously, or else you can't beat it, in which case you will lose the run. Weak to one thing in particular means deaths to forgetting about thorns. I don't know if I've ever quite died to forgetting about thorns. Okay, Body Slam. Body Slam is like, I barely want to call this a damage common. I think I will put it at a D- for damage common. What this is, though, is we have Block Engine, there's like a C-, I want to say, for block synergies, and it's also an exhaust synergy card, which is also probably a C-. How do I explain this? So first off, as a damage common, it just doesn't deal that much damage. Deals very little reliable damage early game, so hard to pick up as a damage common, especially as you'd like to add damage cards instead of block cards alongside it early. Obvious synergy with Ironclad's block package, but hampered by the fact that dealing damage isn't usually very important if you have 500 block and a barricade in play. You'd rather just not have this card in your deck so you could reach that situation more quickly, at which point you can win with whatever cards you put in your deck earlier in the game to beat fights before your engine was online. Actually has relevant what exactly is variance? You've heard me talk about it a lot, but you don't understand it. Like, is burst, bouncing, flask, catalyst an example of high or low variance? If you have no way of helping yourself draw those cards at the same time, it would be high variance. Like, if you have a deck which can only win if it gets to burst, bouncing, flask, catalyst, but it has no well-laid plans in it, that's like pretty high variance. It's basically like, what percentage of the time do you successfully do your thing? Really what it is like, how much is the output of this over 100 fights, and that would be like its average strength. But then variance is what is the range of its outputs over 100 fight. If sometimes it makes you 1,000 poison and sometimes it makes you 12, that's extremely high variance. That is the statistical definition, free kill. Well, probably it is. I don't know. I didn't actually read it, but I'm going to guess you wrote the right equation. Anyway, actually has a decent place within Ironclad's exhaust synergies, as they can sometimes make a lot of block in a turn while struggling to deal damage. For example, if you can make 200 block once in a fight, Body Slam becomes an appealing card to have against, for example, Time Eater. I'm gonna say that. I think, like, this can extend to occasions where you'll beat the heart I'm making 100 block 4 times and playing a body slam plus vulnerable each time. Where without body slam, your deck might simply run out of cards before the fight ended. Alright. We should write about block synergies for Ironclad. Ironclad's block cards are primarily strong because they block incoming damage. This allows Ironclad to win fights off of slower damage options like Combust, Demon Form, or even just dealing a little damage each turn with strikes, angers, etc. The ultimate state of this package is playing in Trench every turn to cap block at 999 with Barricade or Calipers to retain it every turn. In such a state, dealing damage becomes academic. And so Ironclad's block synergy package tends not to care a super large amount about damage cards. Can we say combo? Does that mean something? Is like ultimate state, right? Is like Uber or something? I don't know what language that is. On the other hand, there is also a snowballing, what do I call this? Engine, which builds around Juggernaut and Metallicize, and uses block procs to deal efficient damage fast enough to win any fight in the game without ever actually hitting any outstanding combos or without ever actually assembling any unfair outstanding combos or getting caps for different numbers. Where is the first city? Is that what it is? Huh. Should define combo engine? Oh, I already defined combo engine. Okay, I think that's Body Slam. Oh god, I still have to talk about Infernal Blade. Infernal Blade's weird. Infernal Blade is a damage common. I would say it's like a C- damage common. Not only does it sometimes just not deal any damage, but also it like strengthens Gremlin Knob and gives you a daze against Chosen and stuff. And then it has exhaust synergies, but like bad exhaust synergies. Upward card, which Has some connection to important jobs in the game, but isn't outstanding in any of them. High Variance is a death sentence for a damage common. Because of how important it is for your damage commons to be able to reliably win early game fights. We'll put that in damage common. High Variance is very bad on damage commons because they are at their most useful in the part of the game where you have little safety net available against bad draws. Is Infernal Blade time to talk about card generation as a concept? Oh god. Card generation as a concept? I don't know if I have a strong belief about card generation as a concept. That is fascinating. There isn't that much card generation in the game, is the thing. I don't think I'm going to note it. Like, the card generation in the game is what? There's Master Reality, there's Creative AI, there's Dead Branch. What else is there? Most of it's card, like, replacement. Like, Infernal Blade uses up one card to create one other card. I guess there's Magnetism. Distraction, White Noise, Expunger. Hello World. Okay, Hello World. I think there are two different things here. There are cards which are a different card and you don't know what it is yet. That's just a higher variance card. It's not really card generation. And then there are cards which legitimately create lots of cards over the course of a fight, like Hello World or Creative AI. And I think I will talk about those when I get up to one of those, but I'm not going to talk about them right now. Our Shiv's card generation, kind of. In a more meaningful way than Infernal Blade is, I would say, because you can like play Blade Dance and then play Gambler's Brew. I'm gonna take another Twin Strike. Like I said, I want 4 elites. Just seems pretty good. I'm at full health, so sure, can do this. I think I do play Hemokinesis here, just barely. That I didn't need to. Oh well. So it's an Evolve against Slime Boss. It's an Anger, and then I never have to take another attack common. Or Body Slam, which I've already talked about. Back to the spreadsheet. Evolve is a weird card. I don't know how to, like, evaluate Evolve, really. So it's a scaling power. That's, like, its first identity for me. And as a scaling power, I would say it's like a C-. It's card draw. And as card draw, I would say it's like a D+. And it is status synergies, which are another thing I haven't talked about yet. And as status synergies, I would say this has like a C. Relevant in a decent chunk of fights without any help. Lots of enemies. Put statuses. in your deck. However, I guess we can call it Variance as well. Is this quadrant theory for Slay the Spire? Like the political thing? I don't think so. Evolve is good against slavers? What? I invite you to examine that claim. Okay. Whirlwind is good against slavers. Evolve is not good against slavers. They put wounds in your discard pile. Anyway. However, very slow. Often irrelevant. Card draw still has to be turned into something of use. Hard to do in Act 1, but more possible later in the game. As card draw suffers from max hand size being 10. It'll often either draw you nothing or overfill your hand with lots of statuses. Quadrant theory from limited resources. Ah, gotcha. No, it's not that. But I guess it's a way to analyze cards, so. Decent amount of play around understanding when draw triggers happen with interactions like Warcry. Plus wounds. Warcry? Does it have a space? It does not. Decent amount of skill expression. I'm going to call this skill expression. I think Evolve actually does have like several unique plays, which are only things you care about with Evolve and play. As card draw can be a part of some more esoteric Ironclad Infinites. It is not generally the simplest way to that result. Let's write about Ironclad status synergies. I don't really know what to say about status synergies for Ironclad. I feel like they're just kind of bad. Ironclad has access to status synergies, but short of using statuses with medkits to proc exhaust synergies, it's hard to make them great. Simpler small combos exist, like power through plus second wind plus dark embrace, but heading into more specific status scaling with, for example, fire breathing, damage runs into lots of high variance and awkward draws, and is very unreliable output of both block and damage. Yeah, I don't think scaling is super great on Ironclad. You take an early evolve against Slime Boss or Hexaghost. Yeah, but also you could just beat Slime Boss or Hexaghost without them, and then you wouldn't have to have evolve in your deck. That is, like, generally my thought. Maybe I'll write that. That's probably a good thought to have. Maybe that's a concept, like Silver Bullet. I think that's a concept. Silver Bullet. Silver Wolf, is that what they're called? What's the, like, handsome older man? Gray Wolf? Gray Shark? I don't know what it's called. I give up. Silver Fox, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Beekeeper? Honestly, I get it. Silver Bullet. A card which is very good at defeating a small set of enemies, like Melter against Spheric Guardian. What else? Heal No Pain. Heal No Pain's early game effect against sentries. Caltrops against multi-attack enemies. Sure. These cards are appealing to take because of their obvious outsized effect in a small set of fights, but can hinder a deck from growing into its strongest possible form for all other fights, and can often be made unnecessary by simply building the deck better to begin with. And then, best case scenario, these are cards which scale well late game. Feel No Pain, Malaise, etc., which can justify their inclusion early game by being particularly good at a few things, even before they become late game powerhouses. Oh yeah. Potions can often perform a sort of role or let you skip cards you might otherwise need to get through one difficult fight. That's a really good point. That potions, like good use of potions, lets you skip cards like this. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. All right. I talked about Evolve. Now we talk about Anger. Anger is also a really hard one to talk about. So I think as a damage common, Anger is quite good. Like a B or maybe even a B+. It has strength synergies. And it has like snowball engine potential. It's like a C minus for strength synergies, and it's like a D plus for Snowball Engine. But like these things do exist. They are, maybe it's actually a C minus for Snowball Engine. They are present on the card, and then it's helps with energy curve. Hey Magishu! Are there easy cards to talk about? Oh, good question. Maybe not. Do you feel like I'm, in general, writing more stuff every time? I kind of feel like I am. I'm like having to go back and add things to stuff that I wrote about earlier. Anger a rating for exhaust synergies? Ooh. I don't think it's a big enough deal there for me to care to note it. Maybe it's worth noting that I don't think it's worth noting. Maybe, I mean, I think Snowball Engine is basically where I mentioned that it has relevance in exhaust engines. Deals perfectly fine damage for its price, and with good skill expression can win some otherwise very challenging fights by saturating your deck with the right number of attacks at the right time. Has some relevant strength scaling because of its 0 cost. Performs well in decks with surplus card draw and some strength gain. Can turn into an engine where you spam lots of attacks with 5 strength and rapidly end almost any fight in the game. Turning into the God Guide, I mean, it might take a while. It's interesting because I feel like I've said all of this stuff on stream, but like I often feel like explaining things on stream, like, oh, everybody's already heard me explain this a million times. No one will want to hear this again. But like, I'm up to floor 5 and I've written this much stuff, and like, actually maybe maybe it's unreasonable to think that every viewer already knows that all of this is in my head, right? Did I have to mention something about this? Strength Synergies, Damon Cohen? I guess I don't. Alright. Should be exclamation mark Spire. When I'm doing stuff like this, it does result in my intuition about the actual run I'm playing being like completely off, because I'm not really paying attention to what my deck actually does right now. I think I'm taking Anger for the fights. I have 14 cards, so it takes me up to 15 cards, which is nice against Sentries. At the moment, assuming I got Akabeko on Twin Strike, I would have 26, 36, 66, 81, 89 damage in the deck. You don't get to play all of the cards, and sometimes you have Vulnerable. You have an Entropic Brew. I do think Anger's right. There's an inflection point around being able to kill Gremlin Knob, which I'm not quite at, which it gets me a little bit closer to. Alright, I think what I miss When I missed Twin Strike Akabeko, I probably meant Twin Tropic Brew. That's fine. I'll use Swift Potion on a really bad turn, but mostly I'll just use Weak Potion and save some health. Twin Strike twice actually kills, so Weak Potion only saves 2. I didn't know I was drawing Bash Hemokinesis next turn. My bad. Yeah. I guess I'll just save the Weak Potion. Probably not worth using it for 2 health there. And go! A Prayer Wheel, a Fire Potion. Oh no, Prayer Wheel. No! Okay. Battle Trance. It's okay, most of my fights are elites for a little while. This is card draw like A+. And I mean, that's it, right? I guess the other thing you can say is... Maybe there isn't that much to say about Battle Trance. Very good card draw for the entire game until you reach a point where you have an engine so strong that you don't have to bother playing it anyway. There's a very small inflection point in between where it's a bad card in your deck that is largely insignificant. And definitely when Tire runs without proving your card draw past what Battle Trance does every turn, but you usually don't need to and can supplant it with something like Dark Embrace sometime in Act 2 or 3. Very strong interaction with Headbutt feels worth mentioning. Also interacts with debuff removal, but awkwardly consuming Clockwork, Souvenir. I don't know how to spell Souvenir. Not a clue. Is that close? It only has an IR? What the fuck? What is up with the French? But awkwardly consuming Clockwork, Souvenirs, Artifact Charge comes up more often than cleverly removing its debuff with orange pellets. Never wrote a glossary entry for card draw. That is one of the important ones. Card draw, meaning drawing card. Card draw has immense value in Slave the Spire because your plays are so often decided by the enemy in the fight and their intent on this turn. Because of that, you want to spend your energy on particular cards and often don't care much about playing others in your hand at all. Surplus card draw lets you find the right cards at the right time For example, Piercing Wail on a multi-attack turn. And then separate paragraph card draw then dovetails nicely into setting up unfair engines and combos later in the game. For drawing more cards in a turn lets you more reliably match combo pieces. Example, Nightmare Wraith form. See more reliably and quickly match combo pieces. And sometimes you can draw so many cards that your card draw itself ends up being a winning factor for you. For example, repeatedly drawing the same blood for blood plus playing all cards in your deck in one turn with corruption plus Dark Embrace, or fully achieving an infinite combo like Turbo plus, M plus, Recycle plus, Compile Driver. It's missing scaling power too. There's no scaling power here? Oh shit. That would probably go in here, next to damage common. Scaling power. Scaling powers are cards which get drawn and played once and have lasting benefit for the rest of the fight. A simple example would be Metallicized. Scaling powers usually trade some output on the turn they are played for lasting output later in the fight. As such, they are best in longer fights like boss fights or certain hallway fights, and tend to underperform in hallway fights and the more brutal elite fights in the game. UFB Muggle, thanks for the 23 months. Many scaling powers also give output which becomes irrelevant as you build more and more broken elements into your deck as the run progresses. I.e., Metallicize is not a very attractive scaling option compared to Entrench plus Barricade, and prioritizing Metallicize too much early in the game may hamper your ability to transition into truly strong synergies later, while also not giving particularly good output in the fights you're in right now. I don't think my chat has a problem with transitioning. I've seen you try to draft Slay the Spire deck. Next I have to talk about a flame barrier. My cat just peed and it smells really bad, and I'm going to go make sure that she got it in the litter box, because sometimes she misses. Oxidate, thanks for the 5 months. Has anyone actually seen the other cat? I have. There was no particular disaster. It was just very smelly. Deekden, thanks for 11 months. Yeah, I mean, you can use Metallicize to outscale some parts of the game, but like, there are just stronger things. Flame Barrier. I'm gonna call this a value card. I'm gonna call it a block card. I'm gonna call it like a B tier value card. I'm gonna call it a C+ tier block card. I'm gonna call it Silver Bullet multi-attack. Well, now every time I write Silver Bullet, I think of Richard Gere. He's just such a good-looking man. All right. Oh well. We haven't even had a prayer wheel pick yet. It's okay. There's only 72 cards. Like, how much writing could there be? Excellent numbers on a card, which is mostly dead and in terms of late game scaling. It's fine to have a flame barrier in your deck. It'll be good on many turns, and Ironclad likes being better at spending 3 energy on block in particular. Sometimes it'll surprise you and deal 60 damage to the heart. Alright, we need to define value cards. Card which has big enough numbers on it that it's usually worth taking, even if it doesn't fit well with many synergies or many synergies you're building toward. Flame Barrier also prevents you from being hacked. I think that's a firewall, actually. Dash is also a value card, yeah. And we need a block card. Card which blocks. Block is... Block is usually a temporary solution in Slay the Spire. Many enemies outscale your ability to block. I say often, not usually, because this like isn't true of Awakened one, for example. Enemies outscale your ability to block, and as such, over-indexing on blocking, especially early in the game, can lead to very bad fight matchups against enemies who simply attack you harder every turn while you fail to kill them. That said, having enough block cards to stem the bleeding in hallway fights is very valuable. I would tend to aim for 10 to 15 block per turn in Act 1 and 20 block per turn in Act 2. By the time you reach Act 3, you will hopefully have an engine online, which makes one-dimensional output like this feel a little less relevant. When Whale bonus gives you card remove on Watcher, how do you know which defense to remove? I go with the middle two, I think. No, I don't think so. The 16 months. Green Flame Barrier meta. I'm starting to get carpal tunnel. I actually, true story, I have this keyboard because when I was working on my book, I started getting very sore fingers. I don't know if I had carpal tunnel or just like, I mean, I was in some way in discomfort from how much I was typing, and so I got this keyboard which has much softer key presses. Good keyboard. Time to use Speak Transcribe. Oh, that's a good point. I could just be saying stuff and having my, like, I actually have auto captions on the stream. I could just say things and then copy paste from them. What a genius idea. Heavy Blade is like damage common D minus. Like Synergies C minus. C minus. Has relevant applications with Echo or Necronomicon or with high strength deck without better strength scaling options, but tends to be outperformed by sword boomerangs, zero cost attacks, etc., while demanding 2 energy to play from a deck which can already get much more damage by using its energy to scale strength more / faster. Yeah, I think Heavy Blade is just like mostly a bad card, so that one's not too hard to talk about. You want me to just open editing the sheet for you? I'll think about it. I'll take Battle Trance here. I don't think it's that close. Against Sentries, I would like to have Fire Potion. Against Lagavulin, I would like to have Weak Potion. I think I'm actually gonna lose Swift Potion here. Alright, we'll go to a shop. I'm not writing all the shit for everything in the shop. I'm just not going to do it. We are, though, taking Brimstone, which is fun. Should I write shit about all the relics as well? What about the colorless cards? I think Brimstone is worth writing about because I think people get Brimstone very wrong. Maybe I should call damage commons front-loaded damage. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Ironclad cards. Find and replace damage common with front-loaded damage. Which means this is no longer about cards. Often from damage commons, which are... My editor can fix that before this publishes. Whatever. So this is front-loaded damage. It's like S tier front-loaded damage. It's very good, even S plus, and it's strength scaling S tier, and it has the obvious downside, right? Deals a tremendous amount of damage with any modicum of support. Downside of scaling strength on enemies is manageable. Many ways to block. Don't care how much enemies are attacking for. i.e. buffer stacks, intangible. Many enemies don't attack many times per turn. Many engines will bury enemies with their output, even if the enemies are attacking for 10 more than usual. Very strong snowballing relic. Actually, we'll define snowballing relic. What gray did I just use? That one? That looks gross. I don't like that gray. Ew. What color are relics? What about that gray? Maybe that one's better. This is very important. Why does it look green? Do I have, maybe I have a yellow filter on my computer or something? A relic which gives you the ability to snowball into immense strength later in the run, like membership card or Black Star. Doesn't necessarily help much right now, and sometimes require that you gain that extra strength because it arrives with a downside, like Busted Crown or Brimstone. Busted Crown is a snowballing relic. Helps you with Act 2, but then you fall off because you're not getting your card rewards. High variance because it increases the chance of sudden death if you get unlucky with multi-attack enemies. No, there really isn't one in the game that can happen with. Like, it just doesn't really happen. Like, if the birds attack you on turn 1 of Act 2, sure, that's bad, but if they're attacking you still on turn 2 of Act 2, you're doing something wrong with Brimstone. Like, they should just be dead already. Snecko Eye is a bit of a Snowball Relic, I guess, yeah. Although, I think Snecko Eye is mostly just bad. I'm going to buy Brimstone. And I'm going to card remove. I think I do card remove Strike, even though I have Brimstone. Defends still exhaust to Corruption, exhaust to Second Wind, and they're also still playable. Damn, he hits hard though. I think I wait. Twisted Crown kind of feels like the opposite of a Snowball Relic if it falls off. But like I said, sometimes a Snowball Relic can like be attached to a downside. It gets you through all the Act 2 hallway fights and elite fights, but then if you haven't gotten enough out of it, you can then summarily lose. By Lagavulin. Ooh, a blue candle. Not what I would have picked. Cleave. I really dislike Cleave. It's like bad front-loaded damage. Silver bullet, multi-enemy fights. I think I'm going to call area of effect damage silver bullet for multi-enemy fight, which is a weird thing to call it, but I think that's what I'm going to call it. Cleave is funny because there's a power that just plays it every turn. You can also spend a lot of money to put it in your opening hand for 0, sometimes, at the shop. What's that called? Dramatic Entrance? I don't understand why people think Dramatic Entrance is good. Some people think that card is so good. I am so confused every time. Yeah. An okay card which can help with some problem fights if your deck is bad. True Grit. Ooh. Block card? It's like an okay block card. Like a C. Exhaust Synergies. Also, like, I think I'm gonna say it's a C minus block card, a C minus exhaust synergy. I'm also gonna say needs upgrade, which is going to be a new glossary. Needs upgrade. Some cards significantly improve their output when upgraded, but with limited upgrades available. Whether you can take them or not depends on whether you're able to upgrade them or whether you're offered them already upgraded. Example, if you have Toxic Egg, a lot of skills which usually need an upgrade become very pickable, changing the card pool you're playing with more significantly. That's not how I got close. More significantly than you might expect. I'm also going to note that Warcry kind of needs an upgrade. I don't think anything else that I've looked at yet really needs an upgrade. Evolve benefits a decent amount from an upgrade. It doesn't really need it though. Wait, Cleave, True Grit, True Grit. Okay, block card. Okay, bridge to exhaust synergies. But overall, there are much more powerful cards to be adding to your deck, and over-reliance. True Grit will hamper you. Instead, absolutely can serve as a possible value card, which pushes you in a couple of appealing directions. Exclamation mark Spire is this spreadsheet. Are you obligated to pick Cleave versus skip floor 1 most of the time? Like the other two cards aren't pickable? I think I skip Cleave on floor 1 sometimes. Maybe more than I pick it, even. Clothesline! Also front-loaded damage. Every common is front-loaded damage, huh? But it's like pretty bad front-loaded damage. Like you don't take this just because of front-loaded damage. It's also weak. What do we call weak? Do we just call it weak? Maybe we just call it weak. We call it Silver Bullet weak. Is weak bad enough that you call it Silver Bullet? Mitigation. Block alternative. Ooh, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Okay, we'll call it a block alternative. Doesn't deal good damage. We'll call it like a C-. Doesn't deal good damage and doesn't block very well, but because damage and block are exactly what you want, early game it can be quite pickable. Also fits poorly into your energy curve. But goes up in value if you prefer Snecko Eye over Runic Pyramid for boss relics. One of the few damage commons that you may actually take in Act 3 as the value of weak may increase as the run goes on. Yeah. Clothesline's kind of okay with Brimstone because weak is more valuable than usual. I don't think I'm going to take it, but it felt worth mentioning. I do have a weak potion already too. Block alternative. Way of blocking other than making actual block. For example, strength reduction, weak, intangible, buffer. Artifact removal? Ah, whatever. It's not good artifact removal. Even if artifact removal is a category, I'm not going to write that weak is part of it. I'm not spending 2 to remove 1 artifact and being happy about it. We just skip here. Maybe both deem. How long since I started the spreadsheet? I've played the game for 9,000 plus hours. Open a chest. There's a strawberry in it. I think I actually take that. It is okay. I'm in Islands, London. Good to see you. Best upgrade here is either Battle Trance or Bash. I think because of Brimstone, Hemokinesis might, like, sometimes be the better upgrade over Bash, but in this situation isn't. I'll go for Bash. Really fine upgrade. Not exciting, but fine. I'm probably meant to just kill this one. We can fight. Okay, I took 4, so I healed overall. Whetstone. Oh my. Well, now we have some cards. I've been working on this part of the spreadsheet since the start of the run. I've always felt like Clothesline should replace a defend in the Ironclad starter deck. Oh. No, mod characters have spoiled people with, like, starter decks having so many different things in them. Feel no pain. This is a scaling power of power like A. It is... a block card of power A+. It is Lost Synergies A. It is Silver Bullet against Sentries, and sometimes Chosen. John Bard, thanks for 26 months, appreciate it. Makes a tremendous amount of block, sometimes without you even having to do anything. Example against statuses. Exhaust Synergies don't have to build around Feel No Pain as their block solution, but they will usually want to. And as the card is passable even early game, typically makes sense to pick up at least 1 or 2. Alright. Dual Wield. Wait, do I have to note any of these? I think I've already defined all of these turns. Dual Wield. What a weird card. So it works as a combo engine, but it's not like an appealing combo engine. It's like a C. How do you explain what this card is? It's front-loaded damage? It's high variance. Strong with Snecko in particular because of the consistency of drawing it plus a 0 cost attack. Combos with good attack to let you play multiple of them in the same turn. For example, blood for blood. Combos with powers to occasionally outscale slower fights. For example, metallicize against champ. Sometimes allows for unfair scaling in late game situations which need higher variance solutions. For example, hitting 2 more feel no pains against hearts. Card. Difficult card to evaluate in a vacuum because its affect? Its value is so heavily defined by what is happening around it. It doesn't have to be present in Ironclad's strongest decks, but can often play a good role in them. For example, copying Reaper, dropkick, etc. Does also exhaust with corruption in play, making it a bit more, making it on average better in late game Ironclad decks as well. You're welcome, Oxidate. Simply never say affect or effect. I think that is a reasonable idea. Demon form, our first rare. I think this is a B tier scaling power. As a strength scaling card, I think it's like C+. I think it is worth considering how it plays with your energy curve. Slow but powerful damage option, obvious synergy with Reaper. Dex able to stall fights for a while. Strong with Snecko Eye. Will do the trick if needed, but not usually the one you most want. I'm gonna call it a C+ scaling power, actually. Yeah, I don't actually have that much to say about Demon Form. I guess, we can say it's significantly better if you're able to cheat it into play. For example, with a Liquid Memories, Echo Eye, Anchor to block, Bottle to ensure you draw it turn 1, or enough max HP that taking a big hit doesn't matter too much. Silver Bullet for Act 2 bosses. Ooh. I don't hate... Yeah, sure. I think actually I'm going to restrict that just to champ. don't think it's incredible against the other two, but against Champ in particular, I think it's reasonable to observe that you can take this card just to win that fight. I would hope that your deck could beat the fight a different way, but sure. I'll take Feel No Pain. It was fine. We got a Whetstone to upgrade a Strike and an Anger. Nice. Energy with multi-attacks. It's baked into strength scaling. Fucking Prayer Wheel. Alright, well I already talked about Evolve and Body Slam, so I just need to look at Shrug It Off. Which is like pretty good. It is a C value block card and a C value card draw. And worth considering for exhaust synergies as well. Somewhat of a core block card for Ironclad. Often around about as good as skipping and worth picking up if you haven't found other block options yet. Turns into a powerhouse later in the game when you have more energy, or when you have, I'm going to say when you have corruption, or at least a bit more energy. Not a card you love to flood the deck with multiple copies of, though, unless the situation makes it better than usual. It's my opinion of Shrug. I'm going to take one. Oh, I have another card reward. All right. There's Sword Boomerang, there's Clash, there's Flex. We already talked about Flex. Clash. Extremely unreliable because of Ascenders, Bane, and statuses, even if you don't have any high cost skills or powers. You probably want to have some of those. That said, it isn't completely unpickable, and in 1 or 2 runs in 100, you'll want one of these to help you out when you get a rough start to the act and have to be able to beat elites. When you get a rough start to Act 1, you have to be able to beat elites. It's exclamation mark Spire year, not Spire. Alright, cool. Scaling equals Act 2 win is a mental shortcut you take. You don't, I mean, your deck can just be good enough to beat the Act 2 bosses. I think the thing I said about, like, the silver bullet concept applies there too. Like, yes, you can take a bad way to scale in order to beat the Act 2 bosses. You can also just make a deck that's good enough to beat them without you doing that, and then your deck will be better for Act 3. So. What is this emote, Mr. Bucket? Key Wave. Wait, is that from Sunglitters? No way. Love it. Worth mentioning Second Wind with Clash? I mean, if you play Second Wind exhausting all the cards in your hand, getting to play Clash is not a particularly relevant payoff. That is just... I like, sure, whatever. I don't. That is, like, really tenuous. That's, like, yes, that exists, but... I will note some synergy. Second Wind and Silver Soul. But not enough to write home about. Apparently just barely enough to write in the spreadsheet. Sword Boomerang! Yeah, Clash is just a bad card in general. Ascender's Bane makes it worse, but isn't, like... Yeah. Silver bullets are dog shit against a body armor. Front-loaded damage, Sword Boomerang. Front-loaded damage, it's like a C+. I mean, it hits for 9 for a 1. It's fine. What did I call Twin Strike? B? Yeah. I think C+, B-. Make it a B-. I think C. C+. What else? Strength scaling, obviously. I think this is like one of the best strength scaling cards in the game. It hits 3 times for only 1 energy. That's pretty good. Fairly strong way to deal damage early game and transition into strong damage output with strength scaling late game. I take 1. I have a Brimstone. I have 82 max HP already. I think I can take a Sword Boomerang. Alright. Have I skipped any cards? I feel like I haven't. Maybe I should skip cards sometimes. God, it's... How do I not split this turn? I go like strike bash or something? Good fight! Havoc, Warcry, Clothesline. Okay, Havoc's a really fun one. Havoc is... needs upgrade. Energy curve needs upgrade. What do I call it? Deck manipulation? And manipulation. What? It won't go bold. Hand manipulation, energy curve, needs an upgrade. Exhaust, synergies. Probably just a C, actually. Can also say combo engine? And snowball engine? Okay. I have typed the wrong thing so many times tonight. Havoc is an extremely... Do synergy keywords cover considerations of synergy dependence? Sword Boomerang is pretty bad without strength scaling. It hits for 9 for 1 energy. That's fine. Not good, but I didn't say it was good. It was like a C+. Havoc is an extremely flexible card which tends to fall below replacement value. I'm not gonna say that. Which tends to be almost pickable in a lot of situations, and paying attention to when it passes the inflection point into being worth picking up is going to lead to winning more runs. Playable without an upgrade, but much stronger with an upgrade. And one of the ways Ironclad can get away with taking non-energy boss relics. Decks focused on exhaust, Havoc can play powers at 0 cost, or accelerate your way through your deck once Dark Embrace is in play. I wish it would stop going bold again whenever I pressed enter. Has ability to create infinite with Dark Embrace plus anger and some other comparable situations. Reckless charge. His ability to create massive turns with only Dark Embrace, where you can get down to a few cards in your deck and then play them twice, with the second time being off of Havoc and their exhaust trigger redrawing Havoc for the next card. I think that's most of the stuff that I want to say about Havoc. Mention Frozen Eye. That's in hand manipulation. Is Variance worth mentioning? Gosh, I don't actually think Havoc is that high variance. But I think it's like usually good to play. Oh, maybe it's worth mentioning. Some exposure to Variance, but usually good enough to play, and you can choose not to play it if exhausting a card could be fight losing. Exhausting a particular card could be fight losing. Not typically an Act 1 card, but can often become good at some point through the run, for many different potential reasons. Okay. That said, I don't think I want any of these. Iron Wave, Twin Strike, Clothesline. Also talk about Iron Wave. This is like front-loaded damage, D-, block card, D-, value card, C. Okay, to take one of these for its numbers in Act 1, but you're not expecting anything super special from it. NB can actually be extremely relevant in some corruption scenarios late game where it ends up being a repeatable source of block. Is it good to upgrade Iron Wave? I mean, the numbers on it are bigger than the numbers on other upgrades. It upgrades for 4 numbers instead of 3, so like, fine. But it's not like good. It's like, it's okay. It's like fine. Woo! That was fun. Do I have to hit it for 17? Yeah, this is very much a like auto battle the Spire while talking at length about the cards. Offering. Call this tempo? Maybe tempo should be a glossary term. Meaning accelerating your output in the fight relative to that of the enemies, usually by generating card draw and or energy. And we can also say energy. Usually have to spend energy to play cards. Making more energy in a turn has upside on how much you can output that turn. However, first energy you spend in a turn is likely to be more valuable than the last. You'll usually have 1 or 2 cards which are very good to play, but the rest may be less good or even irrelevant. As such, you don't want to overdo energy generation early in the game when it's likely just letting you play more strikes and defends, which don't do that much anyway. Early game value cards will increase your overall output much more quickly than energy cards. Later in the game, when card draw and better cards are plentiful, energy gain becomes much more important. As you get better at the game, You can learn how to generate energy by taking energy generating cards at the right points in the run instead of by leaning on energy per turn boss relics, allowing you to take other types of boss relics, often to much greater overall effect or affect. I think that time it's effect. Anyway, offering is like card draw S plus energy S plus. I'm only gonna give it an S for energy. What else? What else does it do? Exhaust synergies. Okay. Tempo. Health damage. C minus. Not really relevant that it deals self damage, but we can note it. D. Take these. You do not always have to play them in holy fights. Sometimes you'll judge that you can save 6 HP by not playing them, or at least more than 0 HP by not playing them. Suds. Offering is an incredibly strong card, which will win you lots of runs by letting you play your broken engine cards more quickly. We'll take my entire stock of offerings. I've had runs where I had 4 offerings going through Act 2 and no way to heal other than my starter round. It was like, there's a point where you can have too many. But yeah, I mean, in general, they're pretty good. Variance bottom draw. Variance, you might not get it in your turn 1 hand. Feels bad. We could upgrade Sword Boomerang or Offering or Feel No Pain. Feel No Pain's a very long-term upgrade. I think the Sword Boomerang upgrade will pay dividends for the entire run, probably. And we can upgrade the other stuff at some point too. Alright, Slime Boss shouldn't be too bad. I think this is probably a situation where I don't play Offering. I just don't need more damage this turn. It's already at 81. You draw Bash Sword Boomerang? Off. Off. Oh, I'm sorry. I hate to do it to you. Alright, cool. That's potion over weak potion. Berserk, Exhume, and Fiend Fire. Ooh. I think I take Exhume because I have an Offering. Hey, Corvus. Berserk. Berserk is a scaling power D+. It's an energy card. C-. We'll say like Silver Bullet, Desperation, Act 2 bosses. The problem with Berserk isn't that it makes you vulnerable. It's that the entire point of gaining extra energy is to accelerate you into powerful synergies, which make the rest of the fight relevant as quickly as possible. I'm gonna say the entire point. It's that much of the point of gaining extra energy is to accelerate you into powerful synergies, which make the rest of the fight as relevant as quickly as possible. And Berserk, takes 3 turns to make you its first 2 energy. It also happens to make you vulnerable, which is extra bad. Berserk will sometimes be a sensible pick if you have a deck which is still reliant on value cards, which can sometimes be the case all the way through a run even. But usually it just gets in the way of stronger things you could do while making you take more damage. Hey, Barrelicious. Good only with Dead Branch and Corruption. Berserk? I would not recommend taking Berserk with Dead Branch or Corruption. Exhume. What is Exhume? I don't even know what this is. I think it's a value card. Probably. Instafear, thanks for the 30 months. Appreciate it. I think it's like an A-tier value card. He does have some exhaust synergy for sure. Exhaust synergies. Synergies. Incredibly strong toolbox card, which gets back many of Ironclad's strongest available cards. Speed offering. Fiend Fire, Variance, Disarm. Or even Ascender's Bane with Dark Embrace. Would feel no pain in play sometimes. Unless you're dedicated to a non-exhaust synergy run, Exhume usually makes sense to start taking as soon as you're not worried about being dead to hallway fights, even if it isn't very good. Hand manipulation? Sure. Yeah, that's a good one. Fiend Fire. Fiend Fire is weird. So it's front-loaded damage. It's like a B plus to an A for front-loaded damage. Exhaust synergies, I think it's like a B. Combo engines. Say it's a more relevant card for those. Combos well with surplus card draw. Not incredible. Oh, I forgot to mention Reaper in my list of things. But not incredible without it. So it can be the sort of card which only feels good if the run is already off to a good start. Allows you to exhaust down to infinites very quickly. That isn't necessary for achieving that goal, and often Second Wind provides more relevant output while doing almost as good a job. What else? Can trivialize fights if supported by a few relics or a little strength gain and vulnerable, but they don't tend to be the fights that are most important to build around. Overall, overall, a strong card which struggles to find situations where its strength is actually what's needed. Why is it not high rated purely on front-loaded damage? Because it deals less damage than other cards. Like if I draw Hemokinesis, Fiend Fire, and 3 other cards, Hemokinesis deals 15 for 1, and Fiend Fire deals 15 for 2, or 21 for 2. Which is worse. I gave Hemokinesis an S. Okay, well that's pretty high. But yeah, it like deals the same amount of damage as Twin Strike if you draw it, and Twin Strike and 3 other cards. It doesn't deal incredible front-loaded damage. It's decent strength scaling though. Like it's good. It is a rare, which means it gets offered to you alongside other rares. I'm gonna take Exhume. Is this a Pandora's box? Is it a Runic Dome? Oh, Runic Dome here is kind of wild. Maybe it is. I have an Offering and an Exhume already. I think it's Pandora's box. I sure don't want to play my defense, and my strikes are like pretty bad. I have to talk about the transforms or take pandas. Absolutely not. Disarm, Bludgeon, Intimidate, Pommel Strike, Headbutt, Body Slam, Cleave, and Combust. Okay. We're adding some cards to our deck. Let's talk about them, I guess. Disarm. Disarm is a very good block alternative. I'd say it's like A+ tier, almost S tier. Little bit of exhaust synergies. Exhaust synergies, like, you want to have Corruption and Dark Embrace in place, so anything that is a skill is going to have some level of exhaust synergy. Disarm happens to exhaust even if you don't have Corruption in play. You still want to have corruption play. Go for a bullet. Go stabbing. Heart. Eye meter. Awakened one. Excellent. Block alternative, which happens to have some incidental exhaust synergies and happens to be very good against some fights which are often extremely difficult for your deck to handle. What else? When comparing to Metallicize, its value is can seem a little elusive. Good amount of it is tied up in how it interacts with corruption. Dark Embrace. Feel no pain. Feel the pain. I'm gonna say Exhume as well. Early game though, its weakness against artifact charges can make it less exciting in an underdeveloped deck. Be a first deck picked when not against Slimbo. Can also be a first deck picked when against Slimbo. China uses pandas for propaganda. Do Americans use eagles for propaganda? Bludgeon. Front-loaded damage B-. What else? Energy curve. That's really the card, isn't it? It doesn't really, yeah. Bludgeon is awkward because you often want to spend your remaining energy on damage after playing cards which are more important on a turn. For example, block cards or a scaling power. But it costs 3 energy, making it very hard for you to play it alongside something else. On top of that, front-loaded damage is most relevant in Act 1, when you tend to have access to only 3 energy per turn. And manipulation synergy, might note. That said, 32 is a very large number, upgrading to 42, and it can be worth trying to make Bludgeon work with cards like Headbutt Havoc, Headbutt / Warcry, Or you may find there are turns where it's worth playing even at cost of not blocking. Bludgeon. Bludgeon goes up in value if you tend to boss relic swap at whale, because you'll have 4 energy in Act 1 more often, or if you prioritize Echo Eye as a boss relic reward. Good for people who like to say bludge. Bludged. Yes, Rob, it's going really well. How many words do you think I've typed? I feel like I've typed a lot of words. Intimidate. Block alternative. I think it's like not a terrible card. I think it's like a B- or maybe a C+. I'll give it a C+. Exhaust synergies. C. Is that it? Is that the entire card? I guess we can note that it costs 0, so we're thinking about its energy curve. Oh, artifact removal. Why does pressing the arrow take me out of the box I'm typing in, but only sometimes? It's really weird. It is better against multi-enemies. Yes. I mean, you're right. Artifact removal. Some enemies have artifact charges, and it can actually be very important to be able to remove them efficiently. For example, you may win or lose a run based on whether you can strip 2 artifacts from the heart fast enough to apply a strength down debuff to it on turn 5, or whether or not you can remove 3 artifacts from Spheric Guardian to kill it with poison, or it deals you 20 plus damage. As such, cards which efficiently remove artifacts can be worth taking, even if their effect doesn't seem otherwise good enough to make it into your deck. Hey, Puggo! Arrows take you out of the box if you click on the box to start typing. If you click on the text box, then you can use the arrows to move in the text. Wild stuff. Okay. Naively, this is a 0 cost block card, which does fine if you need a bit more block and have no trouble spending all your energy every turn, which tends to be true of lots of Act 1 Ironclad decks. More complexly, card can have interesting interactions with artifact removal, and exhaust synergies, which often make it significantly more relevant later on in the run. Weak also scales in importance as the run goes on. This tends to be a decent pickup early, which has potential to get much more relevant as the run continues. I just said, like, the run goes on 3 different ways in one sentence, I think. Probably that could have been edited better. Oh well. Give out my personal phone number so you can text me when you're not sure what card to pick. Sure. It is 867-5309. You can also reach me via email at support@hotmail.com. Pommel Strike is next. What's the area code? No area code. That'll just work wherever you are. Actually, I wonder how many places in the world you can dial 867-5309 and get some sort of novelty response phone number. We probably have those in a decent number of places, yeah. Nice Puggo. Starts to feel like the first game beat Ascension 20 guide. If you read all this, you are set with no games played. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's still really hard to play the game, for what it's worth. Also, how many of these actually have text in them so far? I've still only written 30 card descriptions out of 72. My hands are so sore. I think I'm gonna just finish the run now. It's fine. We made really good progress. Like, that's a lot of card descriptions. Pommel Strike's pretty difficult to write about, so is Headbutt. We can leave those for next time. Let's finish the run. And give my hands a little bit of a break. Alright, pretty happy to fight as many elites as possible here with my Brimstone ticking up. I have a courier, so going to 2 shops isn't the worst thing. Didn't I write a book? I did. I did write a book. I have a body slam? Interesting. 30 plus 11. I have to use this. And right path 3 elite. Okay. Yep. Not sure where you were going with this. Pommel Strike, Wild Strike, Headbutt. Nope. Disarm Plus. Yeah, so Disarm Plus is one of the reasons why Brimstone is not as scary as it might look like it is at first on Ironclad. Because it turns out you can actually just remove the strength the enemies are gaining. When did I get an Anger Plus? Is that Whetstone? I guess that was Whetstone. Italicize, probably too slow here. Other stuff looks like garbage. Three-hour Act 1? Oh my god. That was 3 hours? Oh my god. Oh no. Well. I'm down for an Apotheosis. I think it does enough. It means I no longer have to go to campfires, so I can just go to hallway fights which gives me more money and also gives me lots of card rewards with Prayer Wheel. Between card remove and impervious, maybe I actually want impervious. Combust remove, not bad at all. That is kind of like a slimed in this deck. Impervious with Exhume. Just take impervious. Combo. Try to kill it? Try to kill this one. Gonna attack me for 11 next turn. I can do this. It's for 40. So much overkill. Should work. Time that doesn't block with Feel No Pain, very true. Cleave, Twin Strike, Sword Boomerang? Does that kill? Cleave, Twin Strike, what's it at? 11, Sword Boomerang kills both. Alright, good fight, good fight, good fight. Feel No Pain again. Immolate. This is a spot where I don't think I need an Immolate. It sure does fine, though. Yeah, Impervious feels particularly good with Body Slam in my deck. I didn't recognize that that was going on. I don't think I want Immolate. Feel No Pain should be good. We expect to win without Immolate here. Headbutt for Cleave? Is this the best Cleave has ever been? Very possible. It's a good fight for Cleave. Alright, goodbye the Gremlin Leader. Found a bird-faced urn, that's kind of fun. I like being able to use drop kicks, however, I think in this situation I'm pretty happy to just take a shockwave. Vulnerable and weak both get more important when strength is being given to people every turn. And let's upgrade Apotheosis, and then I will probably try not to upgrade anything else for the rest of the run. I guess I'm going to go to at least one floor where I can upgrade something. Shouldn't need to play. Offering here. Maybe I didn't need to potion. Wait, power through should be worth having. Another disarm should be worth having. Power through. I don't have to take power through. I have 82 max HP, I have 2 Feel No Pains, I have no way to get rid of the wounds. I actually think it's bad here. Ack of Marbles I will take. It's Ack of Echo and 2 Strength on turn 1. It's like excellent. I think we keep on looking at hallway fights. Good start. Bag of Marbles. True Grit Plus. I have double Feel No Pain. I have no targeted exhaust yet. I think a True Grit Plus is okay. It's just okay. Will I ever play Apotheosis? I sure spent a lot of money on that. Maybe I just won't. Those are not picks. Second win. I don't actually have many skills, so it will like hit statuses for me. Also don't have a Dark Embrace yet. I'm pretty sure we do take it. The card often becomes incredibly good. I don't think it's that good right now. Let's go Cleave. Power through looks pretty nice now. It still doesn't look that nice. Meat on the bone. There's a Rupture with Combust. I've taken to upgrade that actually. I have a Hemokinesis and offering a Combust. I think that's actually okay. We do already have Brimstone, obviously, but this is like a little bit more damage. I think an Artifact Charge is great. Koi Ornithopter probably also pretty good there. We have a Metallicized Book of Stabbing. I mean, it's fine. It's okay. Why is the board game $200? There's a lot of shit in it. Do I have 3 disarms? Oh, okay. You would hope that this run would win from here, then. My Thorn Spot ended up dealing quite a lot of damage. Also, though, I have the ability to deal... What's the math on this turn? I don't think we needed the Thorns Potion to kill this turn. That's my read. Got a Happy Flower, got a Feed. I don't think it's too late for Feed. And I think we just upgrade Offering here. Try to draw Apotheosis faster. Now I need the Slay the Spire, the board game, digital adaptation. Hey, we did it. That's on Tabletop Simulator. I have that on Tabletop Simulator. One of these, one of these. One of these. One of these, one of these. Anger should be real good here. And also grab Offering again. Play some more stuff. Seems reasonable. And we want these to steal cards for us so we can then steal the cards back from them. All the overlays down. Awkward. Does Blue Candle Rupture work? It does. There's occasionally a nice interaction. Wow, never lucky. Is this Hyper Beam turn? It doesn't actually kill me somehow. Easy game. We got a feat. Air in a Bottle is excellent. Reaper is not bad at all here. Reaper is a playable card in this deck. Let's go... I have Blue Candle for Cursed Key. Yeah, let's go Cursed Key. Always lucky, sometimes lucky for sure. Certainly sometimes lucky. Go as many elites as possible. Right side, I think. I'm at full health. Energy per turn feels kind of unfair. Wait, I didn't play Feed. I forgot that I have Feed as well. I would really like Dropkick to be a playable card here. I'm not sure it is. I'm gonna take it and try to make it playable. We'll take more Shockwaves. Might as well play Impervious. Sometimes like your instinct is to not play Impervious so you can draw it later, but this fight is going to be over fast enough that actually having it in my exhaust pile for Exhume is the most efficient way to be able to play it later, especially because I want to headbutt Feed if possible. No luck. There's a Sentinel. Could take a Sentinel. There's also a Heavy Blade plus. Sentinel's a very powerful card. I do not have a Burning Pact, which is one of the main things that makes Sentinel good. I think I don't take it. Weird. I'm not really into the, like, exhaust cards become energy and card draw stuff at the moment. There's no Dark Embrace, there's no Burning Pact. There's an Offering. There's no Corruption. I still have lots of card rewards, though. I'll take a Sentinel. Card's just, like, pretty good. I think here we go Potion Belt? Potion Belt for winning Act 4. Better than Evolve. Ow. So ideally, I would like to feed in this fight. Hey, Wireframe Wife, thanks for the raid. I didn't know you streamed. Appreciate it. Oh. I mean, presumably there was a way to do that better. It's fine. You can only get one curse in this fight. We're a small but dedicated bunch. Cool. Tropic Brew, pretty good with Potion Belt. Spot weakness is not awful here, but I think also probably not worth taking. Now we can use Parasite with Rupture. I mean, like, we can. It's true. Imagine Brimstone on the Watcher. Transitive Verb. We've been talking a lot about affect versus effect today. Challenging stuff. What does it mean? Hey, Justin is okay. So... I don't have a Feel No Pain in play yet. Probably okay though. This is kind of just a lottery, whether I draw feed at the right time or not. He's feeling Steam. Right. Hey, we did. Cool. Incense Burner, very good. I think I mentioned Incense Burner when I was picking Brimstone at the start of the run. I will take a Shrug Plus at this point. With an Apotheosis and full health, you might as well just recall. Play Ascender's Bane for slow value. Play Parasite for not have Parasite in your deck anymore value. I want to get rid of Offering. Doesn't feel right. That might kind of be my entire turn. I guess I can get back Battle Trance. Deck definitely has some very awkward draw orders where it takes a while to actually do anything. I played Offering so I could Exhume it. Just Exhume Shockwave, maybe. Just say star effect or question mark effect. I don't know what that means. What is this symbol shit? What was wrong with letters? We have strayed so far from the light of Merriam-Webster. Actually, they probably started it. Bag of Prep's probably pretty good. Oh, that was a mummified hand. That's very upsetting. Look at some colorless cards. Purity, Dark Shackles. Dark Shackles should be good. Master of Strategy, definitely good. Those ones I think I can pass on. And Dark Shackles should be good, though. I still don't have a Dark. What's happening? What is happening to me? At most, I can eat 2 of these enemies. Dark Embrace isn't actually real. That is quite upsetting. 1 down. I have Exhume for another. Exhume's just a pretty good card. Pass? I guess. I fell in play and play, so getting the dazes isn't hugely problematic. Yo. Any apotheoses in this deck? Could wait. This run's been going for like 3.5 hours. Let's just make it so it isn't happening anymore. I could have played Feel No Pain for healing there and didn't. I will take a Disarm. I think I will take a Pommel Strike plus, a little bit of card draw. We are definitely a little bit slow to get everything done, but also we have over 100 health and a Fairy in a Bottle and an Entropic Brew and an Incense Burner. You would think it would be okay. Most likely. Anger's good here, I think. You have a cat in your lap. Put my cat in timeout. He was complaining a lot. Maybe I should go check on him. End of the run. He's fine. He just goes to sleep. Look at me. I'm the intangible one now. We hit feed here, it's good. No feed. I think the end of the run will be several more hours. I think that's unlikely. I think I have this one pretty much done. Because the enemy's at 1. By the way, I just gained strength from my burns hitting me there. An interaction you don't see every day. Because the enemy's at 1, I can now feed on it. Ooh, we bottled Apotheosis. I am down to bottle Apotheosis. Arguable that Offering is even stronger there, but I think Apotheosis on a 40 card deck. Any cleaves in chat? Always lucky? This is about what you're hoping for when you take a Brimstone, that's for sure. You cleaved my mother. Why did you do that to my mother? What the hell, Twitch chat? We are cruising. Another Feel No Pain? 1, 2... Only 2 so far? Sure. You wield any good? Fine. I would have had Mummified Hand Birdface turn. Unlucky, I guess. Just need a Dark Embrace. Been looking for a Dark Embrace for a while, to be sure. Yeah, the curses is really not that bad here. Okay, probably not Clash, probably not Armaments. Upgrade does very little. Is there a card I would play before Apotheosis? I guess Feel No Pain. Apotheosis makes me block. Where does 41 cards rest on the deck size bell curve? Look like 1 standard deviation above, maybe 2. Where I would eyeball it personally. Dark Embrace is the best curse in the game. You're willing to take it when it doesn't do anything because you know it will probably be crazy later. It is a pretty good card. It's actually a power, not a curse. Makes it even better in my opinion. Sure. You're dead. Be careful about playing powers against a weakened one. I have so many disarms. Wait, why is it attacking me? It's kind of rude. You'd better watch out when attacking one time in a turn against this particular player. Sure. Sure. Do I have Exhume? I do. I can actually feed again. Oh yeah, this deck's cooking. Headbutt Battle Trance is still relevant. Any tips for a noob? Try stuff and have fun, I think. Pretty good game. Don't get caught up in trying to do everything perfectly. Wrong feeling no pain twice in a row. I do have 3 of them, so. That one. That one. This one. This one. And this one. Try to do the things I do. I would actually not recommend trying to do the things I do as someone who's new to the game. Trying to work out if I can feed on both. It's kind of feeling... Oh, I get to rest at the campfire. Okay, sure. I can try them. It's feeling a bit hard. The runs shouldn't be 3 hours long on average. My runs are not 3 hours long on average. Yeah. Still have Reaper. This doesn't hit me nearly as hard. Guess this is fine. Oh, Meat on the Bones turned on. Nice. Cool. I think I got both of them. I want this on 4. We wait. Shit. Relics on the right numbers. Good, methodical, and meticulous, even if long run is kind of fabulous. It's a game where you can really play a run for as long as you want. I would encourage you to just play a run of the length that is fun for you. Whether that means it is 45 minutes long, or it takes you 45 minutes to choose your whale bonus. Another offering seems real good. I would maybe have bought Barricade? I don't know, probably not. Power Potion over Swift Potion, maybe? So close to membership card. Yeah, can't have everything go right for you. Alright, double disarm on you. Already doing pretty well from a survive the fight kind of point of view. I guess I turn this way. Didn't buy a Hand of Greed, clearly throwing. Well. Can't always all play perfectly. I should have played Impervious, right, for Exhume. I guess if I draw Exhume, the turn's already fine, actually. Keep the strength off that one, and then turn back this way. It does gain strength every turn, so just because I put its strength in the bin doesn't mean it won't come back again. I headbutt. Guess so. Feed. I shrug, drop kick, anger. That's not enough. Yeah. I'm probably not going to bother going all the way around again. Yeah, if I can just Reaper Twin Strike, that seems fine. This is on the right number again. Blood Vial. Ooh, Barricade. Sure. Why not? Barricade is just kind of a strong power at some point. We play Power Potion first so we get to upgrade whatever we get. That's Apotheosis. Huge. That's pretty good. Alright. I don't want to play Battle Trance. Free in demon form seems acceptable. Yeah, I think it's probably alright. You never know, but... might as well do this now. Feel kinda sorry for the heart. I don't know. You could kill us. You never know what's gonna happen. Starting to get a sinking feeling for it, though. It's about to cleanse all of the negative strength I put on it, so I will not play the other Disarm. Does it feel weird to you to still be watching even though you know what will happen? Sounds kind of perverse. Watching the gladiators in Rome or something. Good. We'll play this so I can draw it again next turn. Actually, I guess it has artifact charges, so Disarm wouldn't even work. Ooh. You bet on the heart? Oops. Always feels weird to watch someone having fun playing a game over playing it yourself. An interesting thought. Oh, okay. That was, as long as I was intending to play Slay the Spire 4 today, except I thought I'd play like 3 runs. Who knew? Who knew that talking about cards would take that long? Oh shit, I forgot. Also, I meant to do